points, 5.9 rebounds, and 6.1 assists per game. He also missed 21 games with a fractured wrist and still was able to win Rookie of the Year. I say all this with a smile on my face because I'm so proud of myself.
That was your greatest pick ever.
It is. It's probably the most right I've ever been in my career about anything. I saw him play when he was 16 years old in the JBA, and nobody believes that he was going to make it because LeVar, and he went overseas, and he didn't want to play at Chino Hills, and they didn't believe what was going on in Australia. When you have the raw talent and the work ethic and you go to the right place, it all comes together.
By the way, a lot of people have rolled their eyes at LeVar Ball's claims. Lonzo had a very good year. Other Suns Rookie of the Year. I mean, you can say what you want. I bring LeVar on this show once a year, and I get pushback every time. And I always say, let's be fair about this. Like, his kids are making it. Let's be fair.
He has 2 sons in the NBA.
Yeah, so
his youngest is Rookie of the Year.
I get pushback all the time on LeVar. Why do you bring him on? And I'm like, it'd be one thing if his kids couldn't make the G League. Now he's got a Rookie of the Year, and another kid, Lonzo, who's a nice player. He had a very good year. He could finally shoot threes. So it's like, give LeVar a little credit. He may be zany and wacky and goofy, but stuff's working.
Well, LeVar was the reason why people were questioning what LaMelo was able to do, because he pulled him out of school and then he sent him overseas. And it's like, that is not a recipe that's going to work. He played against grown men, and I really think that helped him develop.
Yeah.
Finally, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers seem to be heading for a divorce sooner or later. Our very own Jake Glazer reported yesterday that Rodgers is definitely done with Green Bay.
I know he still wants out, without a doubt. Absolutely. Still wants out. But every time somebody called the Packers, it was immediately shut down. So, look, what these teams need to do is continue to call and continue to call.
Yeah.
I think this could actually start to get ugly. I didn't think so, but I'm we go through the support Aaron Day or support the Packers Day.
Right.
I have mostly support Aaron Days, but I'm starting to really think that this could happen. I remain in the space that he's going to be with the Packers this year. But as we get closer and closer to training camp, and Jay has great sources, I could see this getting really ugly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was reading this morning, Joy. Fanside is a blog website, and said a former GM in the NFL, Aaron's selfish. Teammates don't like him. Coaches don't like him. It's all about Aaron, but you deal with it because he's a superstar and he puts food on the table for your family. Another general manager in the league predicted that multiple sources around the league believe what's going to happen. Rodgers stays away throughout training camp. Jordan Love gets reps, plays. It's actually not terrible for Jordan Love. He gets ramped up. And then Aaron comes back as the season started. I don't think that's crazy. As I've said before, if Jordan Love could play, this would all be really easy.
Yeah.
You trade Aaron to AFC team, and Jordan can play, and you're not great the first year. Aaron was 6-10 his first year. But this team's got a lot of good young players. Devontae Adams is young. Aaron Jones is young. Their offensive line, they've got really good players. You have a bumpy year. It's not a great division. You go 9-8, 8-9. It's not great, but you're okay. And then you're good the next year. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. If Jordan Love isn't great, but he's a starter, Green Bay's shown an ability. They'll surround him with enough players in that goofy division. They can still win the division.
They're in the NFC Championship game last year. I mean, obviously they had the MVP at quarterback. They have a great team. They have a Super Bowl caliber team. If Jordan Love is, to your point, a starter, they're going to be good.
Yeah, if he's good. If he's Daniel Jones, you're like, well, you can win that division.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, the Giants, they have a shot to win their division. And we don't even know if Daniel Jones can play.
But the thing is, if Aaron Rodgers is going to get traded, why would he leave $2 million on the table for training camp?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think money's a driving force with Aaron. I think it is some, but remember with Aaron, he's a single guy. He's a smart guy. He's got a hedge fund he does. He's got ownership in the Bucs. I mean, Aaron's money issues. He makes $5 million a year, I'm told, $3 to $5 million a year. I've been told with his State Farm stuff. Aaron's fine financially. He probably bought that house in Malibu almost cash. I think Aaron looks at $1 or $2 million for his happiness and says, that's my guess. I'm not speaking for Aaron, but if I was Aaron Rodgers, his net worth is well over $75 million minimum. It'll probably end at $200 million or more. I don't think Aaron cares about $1 million. At this point, Aaron wants to be happier, which isn't always easy, and I think he'd put $1 million he'd let a million fly off into the ether to be happy. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
Luka is not very pleased either. The Mavs just parted ways with longtime GM Donnie Nelson yesterday. Reports had surfaced that Luka was upset with the move, and he spoke today from Slovenia as he trains with the national team. He said, it was kind of tough for me. I really like Donnie. I've known him since I was a kid, and he was the one that drafted me. It was tough for me seeing that, but I'm not the one making the decisions there. Sam Amick just tweeted, so it appears very likely that Luka still signs the Supermax, but from this vantage point, that dynamic is all kinds of bad right now.
Yeah.
Luka is close to Donnie. Luka doesn't like Bulgaris' influence, and there's the Luka Carlisle component. Yeah, not great. That's what Sam just tweeted.
Woo!
So it's also very tense in Dallas right now.
So Zion and Luka, two of the, Trae Young is now getting, and John Morant are close to that. But Zion and Luka, just their physical stature and their dominance offensively, both young guys unhappy. And by the way, for the same reason, they feel there is somebody I like was traded or fired, and I feel there's dysfunction in the organization. So they're both basically complaining about the same thing. You got rid of a GM I like, you got rid of J.J. Redick, and there's dysfunction and not a history of great winning in the organization. I've got my concerns.
This is generally with, trade a few of those complaint cards. This is generally what happens when stars get upset.
You know what? This is where I will be honest. I have always had so much sympathy for athletes. I'm not always in the athlete's corner. You're much more in the athlete's corner. I am a lot, but not always. But I know my personality. I got to choose where I got to go in life. The idea that I could have been drafted by a company in broadcasting, and if it's dysfunctional, you're stuck with it. I got to be honest with you. It's easy to say they're rich, they're pampered, they're young. But listen, this has been a players' league since Spencer Haywood back in the 70s, okay? I don't want to hear like they're spoiled now. Lou Alcindor told Milwaukee, I'll give you a title, I'm out. So basketball, you only have 5 guys on the floor. Football, you got 22 starters and special teams. Baseball, you've got your infield, your pitchers. In basketball, you got 5 dudes. If you have 2 great ones, you end up on television in June.
LeBron is literally worth an economy in a city.
He is an economy.
Yes.
Even in L.A.,
yes,
he becomes an economy.
Yes.
So
one player can change not just the history of your franchise, but of your city.
And by the way, what other sport in the world's like this? International soccer. Ronaldo changes your economy. Messi, why? Because in soccer, there's a lot of good players. You get these once-a-decade transformational guys, and they change everything. They change your merch, your marketing, how you're promoted, how you're on television.
What the businesses around the stadium do.
By the way, we just had this thing in Europe with a soccer where a bunch of top soccer teams tried to break away from their leagues and everybody freaked out. The reason they were doing it is because certain teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona are like, why are we splitting revenue? We have all the stars. So owners think about doing it. Teams think about doing it. Stars think about doing it. If you're great, you have high standards.
Well, so that's really what it is. If you're great, you have high standards. And if you're stuck in a situation where you feel like everyone around you doesn't have those same standards, I know I couldn't deal with it. Maybe it comes from our childhood. We both came from dysfunctional homes. I don't do well in dysfunction. I get very impatient and very frustrated, and I can't do it.